I found out last week that my parents used my college fund to pay for my sister's education. I'm 24 now, and she's 20. I never went to college because my parents always told me they couldn't afford it. They made it clear that if I wanted to go, I had to find my own way. So, I didn't go. I started working right after high school, first at a gas station, then at a mall. I've been working full-time for about 6 years now. My sister started college 2 years ago. She attends a private university that costs around $45,000 per year. I assumed she had scholarships or financial aid, and I never asked about it because I was trying not to feel resentful. I had good grades in high school. I was in the honor society. I wanted to major in business or accounting. But my parents kept saying they couldn't help me with tuition. They told me to apply for scholarships but said they couldn't contribute anything. Even community college wasn't a real option for me, because I knew I'd be completely on my own. I found out about the college fund by accident. I went to my parents' house last Sunday for dinner. They host a monthly family meal and expect all of us to attend. My sister was there too. After dinner, my dad asked me to get some documents from his office. He said he was helping my uncle with taxes. While going through the filing cabinet, I found a folder with my name on it. I wasn't snooping. It was in plain sight while I was searching for the documents he asked for. I thought it contained old school papers, but instead, I found bank statements for an account under my name, an account I didn't know existed. It had been opened when I was born, with regular contributions from my parents and grandparents until I turned 18. The last statement showed a balance of just over $13,000. There was a note saying, transferred to Emily's education fund, dated 4 years ago. Emily is my sister. I took the folder downstairs and asked my parents about it. My mom looked shocked when she saw it, and my dad got angry. He told me I had no right to go through their private files. I told him the account had my name on it, so it clearly involved me. That's when my mom began crying. They both admitted there had been a fund for me, but when I chose not to go to college, they decided to give it to my sister. I told them I never chose not to go. They had told me for years that they couldn't help. They knew I had applied and been accepted to colleges, but they always said they had no money. So I gave up and found a job. My dad told me I should be happy that the money stayed in the family and went to my sister. My sister looked uncomfortable. She said she had no idea the money was originally meant for me. She thought it was saved just for her. My mom insisted they did what they thought was right. I didn't say anything else, I just left. I've been ignoring their calls and texts since. My sister texted me to say she was sorry and didn't know. My parents have called about 20 times. My mom left voicemails saying she wants to explain. I don't know what to do. That money could have changed my life. I could have gone to college, had a real career instead of working in retail all this time, while my sister attends an expensive school, with money saved for me. I started doing research online. The account was in my name, but since it was opened when I was a minor, my parents were likely the custodians. I'm not sure if what they did was illegal, but it definitely feels unethical. A friend suggested I speak to a lawyer. Another friend told me to cut off contact and move on. I don't know what to do. Part of me wants to know if I have any legal rights. Even if I can't get it all back, maybe I could recover something. I'm only 24. It's not too late to go to college. My apartment lease is up next month, and I was already considering moving to a cheaper place. Now I'm thinking of moving to a completely different state just to distance myself. But doing that feels like letting them get away with it. I called my grandparents, my mom's parents, who originally started the college fund. They had no idea the money was given to my sister. They assumed I chose not to use it. They were shocked when I told them what happened. My grandfather said he'd talk to my parents, but I haven't heard anything since. Edit. I've decided to speak to a lawyer. I'm going to call around tomorrow and try to get a free consultation. Even if I don't take legal action, I want to know my rights. Then I'll figure out what to do about my family. Update 1. It's been 3 weeks since I found out about the college fund. I spoke to a lawyer last Monday who offers free consultations. I showed him the bank statements I had taken from my parents' house. After reviewing them, he said I might have a case. If the account was set up under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act, it legally became mine at age 18 or 21, depending on the state. If my parents moved the money after that without my permission, it could be considered financial fraud. He said he would need to see the original account documents to be sure. He asked if I could get them from the bank or from my parents. I decided to check with the bank first. Unfortunately, the bank officer couldn't give me any information because my name had been removed from the account. I sat in my car afterward for an hour before texting my parents. I told them I wanted the original paperwork and a clear explanation of what happened. My dad replied right away, saying they would explain everything in person. I refused and asked for the documents first. He didn't respond after that. That night, my sister called. She said our parents were very upset. She insisted again that she had no idea the money was meant for me. She said if she had known, she never would have accepted it. She asked if we could meet and talk. We met the next day at a cafe halfway between our homes. She looked tired and said she'd been feeling guilty since finding out. She told me our parents always claimed they were paying for her school from their own savings. She never questioned it. She asked about my plans and seemed worried when I mentioned the lawyer. She asked if I planned to sue them. I said I wasn't sure, but I wanted answers and what was rightfully mine. She got anxious, thinking I wanted to make her drop out. I told her that's not what I'm trying to do. She's already halfway through her program. But our parents need to make things right somehow. She said she had no idea how they could come up with that much money now. Most of the fund was already spent, $90,000 for her first 2 years of tuition and housing, with another $90,000 to go. She didn't apply for scholarships or financial aid because our parents assured her everything was covered. My parents lied about my college fund, gave it to my sister, and now I'm taking legal action. I'm 24. My younger sister is 20. After graduating high school, I didn't go to college because my parents said they couldn't afford to help me. They told me I'd have to figure it out on my own, so I didn't pursue it. I started working instead, first at a gas station, then at a mall. For the past 6 years, I've been working full-time in retail. Meanwhile, 2 years ago, my sister started attending a private university that costs about $45,000 a year. I assumed she got scholarships or financial aid. I never asked because I didn't want to be bitter. I was happy for her. Last month, I went to my parents' house for our usual family dinner. My dad asked me to grab some files from his office. While looking, I found a folder with my name on it. Inside were bank statements from an account I didn't know existed, an account set up in my name when I was born. My grandparents and parents had been contributing to it for years. The last statement showed a balance of over $13,000 and a note saying the money was transferred to Emily's education fund. Emily is my sister, 4 years ago. I was shocked. When I asked my parents about it, my mom looked terrified and my dad got angry. He said I was snooping, but I pointed out the account was in my name. That's when they admitted there was a college fund for me, but since I chose not to go, they used it for Emily. I never chose not to go. I was told repeatedly they couldn't help me financially. They said they believed I was independent and capable of figuring out life on my own, while my sister needed more help. My dad even told me I should be happy the money stayed in the family. I left. Since then, I've avoided their calls. My sister later messaged me saying she had no idea the money was meant for me. She assumed it was hers. I started researching my legal rights. Since the account was opened in my name when I was a minor, and likely under the Uniform Transfers to Minors Act, UTMA, it may have legally become mine at 18 or 21, depending on the state. A lawyer confirmed I might have a case, but I'd need the original account paperwork to be sure. He advised trying to resolve it with my parents first. I went to the bank, but my name was no longer on the account. I then emailed my parents asking for the documents. My mother replied, admitting they had used the money for Emily, thinking it was best for the family. She apologized but didn't address the fact that they had lied to me for years. My grandparents, who had contributed to the fund, were furious when they found out. My grandfather offered to pay for a lawyer, and I accepted. I also picked up a second job delivering food on weekends to cover future legal costs. With my lawyer's help, I drafted and mailed a formal letter requesting all account records, a breakdown of how the money was spent, and a plan for repayment. I gave them 2 weeks to respond. 3 days later, my dad showed up unannounced at my apartment. He was furious. He accused me of being ungrateful and trying to destroy the family. He said they didn't keep records of the money and had nothing to repay because the account was never legally mine. I reminded him I never chose not to attend college. They told me they couldn't help me. He left in anger after saying I'd have to drop this if I wanted to be part of the family. That night, my mom began leaving voicemails, begging me to stop. She said they loved me and didn't want to lose me over money. I texted her back. If family meant more than money, you wouldn't have lied to me and given my education fund to someone else. My sister also reached out again. She's caught in the middle. She offered to pay me back after she graduates, but it would take years. I spoke to my lawyer again. He said if my parents continue refusing to share records or make amends, we can escalate with a lawsuit to compel them. It won't be easy or cheap, but I'm prepared. I didn't ask for this. I didn't want to sue my parents. But they lied. They stole from me, and they watched me struggle for years knowing they could have changed my life. They gave everything to my sister, who's studying art history, by the way, while I gave up my dreams of studying accounting. Even now, they want me to let it go. But I can't. The legal route was expensive, and there was no guarantee we'd win. So, my lawyer suggested I give my parents one last chance to make things right before we went to court. I emailed them again. This time, I clearly asked for all documentation related to the account, a breakdown of how the money was used, and a specific payback plan. I said I preferred to settle this without legal action, but I would go to court if necessary. I gave them 1 week to respond. 5 days later, my father replied. They were willing to repay $20,000 over 5 years in monthly installments of about $333. He said that's all they could afford and hoped it would be enough to repair our relationship. But he ignored my request for documentation and a breakdown of the spending. I sent the email to my lawyer. He said it was a step, but without a written agreement, there were no guarantees. Plus, $20,000 was far less than what I was likely owed. The account had more than $13,000 in it years ago, and it had grown. He advised me not to accept anything without full documentation and a signed agreement. I responded to my dad. I thanked them for being open to a conversation, but I still needed the account paperwork and a full breakdown of where the money went. I also said the amount was too low and suggested they explore a larger repayment over a shorter period. Then my mom called me. She cried again and said they didn't have the paperwork anymore. She said they could not afford to pay more without taking out a second mortgage. She asked if I really wanted to hurt them like this. I told her it wasn't about punishment, it was about taking back what was mine. I reminded her how they watched me struggle financially while sitting on money meant for me. She had no response, just kept saying they thought they were doing the right thing. A week later, my grandparents called. I updated them on the situation. My grandfather went quiet, then said he'd look into something. The next day, he invited me to lunch. When we met, he brought a folder containing a copy of their will from 15 years ago. It stated that a trust had been set up for my education and that my parents were only supposed to manage it until I turned 18. After that, it should have been transferred to me. I took this to my lawyer. He said this changed everything. If the trust was set up legally and supposed to be handed to me at 18, my parents had no right to keep it. We sent a legal letter demanding full records and warned them we'd go to court if they didn't comply. After receiving the letter, my father called me furious. He said I was tearing the family apart and breaking my mom's heart. I calmly told him if they had nothing to hide, they should have no problem giving us the documents. He hung up on me. Eventually, they sent some documents. What we found was worse than I imagined. When I turned 18, they convinced the bank to keep the account under their control by submitting fake medical paperwork saying I had a mental disability. I don't. I never have. But this fake claim let them keep full control and eventually transfer the money, most of it into my sister's college fund, and about $30,000 into other accounts. They spent some of it on home renovations and a European vacation. My lawyer called this outright fraud. We're now demanding $150,000 in damages. Their lawyer has offered $75,000 in return. Negotiations are ongoing. My sister moved out. She's angry and heartbroken. I told her not to drop out of school. It's not her fault. As for me, I'm working 2 jobs and barely sleeping, but I feel like I'm finally getting closer to the truth. Thank you for sticking with me through this. If you love dramatic family stories, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll be back soon with more.